Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar on the ready to use B2B e-commerce platform. We are excited to have you here today. My name is Mitesh, and I'll be kicking off today's session. Joining me is the amazing team from Sana Commerce. They will be helping us showcasing these incredible B2B e-commerce platform, one of the fantastic solutions we offer alongside Dynamics NAV and Business Central. Get ready to see how this platform can transform your e-commerce experience. And a little bit about us before we dive in. Navisiontech is a leading provider of Microsoft ERP software and services. We specialize in wholesale distribution and retail industry. With nearly 20 years of experience in ERP implementation, we ensure that businesses have the right tools to operate efficiently. And by offering solutions like Dynamics 365 Business Central and various cloud services, we help companies to stay on top of their operation. And furthermore, we are partner with other ISV provider to enhance Business Central capabilities, including integration with Sana Commerce, LS Retail, Tasklet Mobile WMS, Lenum EDI, so on and so forth. We are a team of ERP consultant and software engineers. Our team works with closely with businesses to streamline their operations. So ultimately, our at Navision Tech, our goal is to set companies up for success, empowering them to start a strong and remain competitive in their industry. So without without further delay, let me hand over to Mike to get us started. And over to you, Mike.
Great. Thank you, Mitesh. Let me go ahead and, before I share my screen, we'll walk through just a couple of really short slides here on Sana. But as Mitesh mentioned, Sana Commerce has been in the Microsoft space as an e-commerce platform for quite some years, having founded the company in 2007 and built our business specifically back then on Microsoft Dynamics NAV, which of course is now Business Central. And Mitesh, if you can move to the next slide, I'd appreciate it. But what we do is we make the ERP and the e-commerce work together as one. So at Sana, when we do an installation with one of our customers, we install Sana directly into Business Central or Navision if you're still running on Navision. And we actually update, modify, and add some table structure back into the ERP system. And what that does is it creates real-time plumbing, right, and a window directly into the ERP so that your customers can buy from you in the same ways that they're used to buying from you offline, online, right, with their pricing, with their specific mix of products. And if you'll move to the next slide, Mitesh, one of the things that we understand and we're very, very good at is B2B e-commerce, and B2B and B2C are quite different, right? So for retailers or B2C organizations, there's not that much complexity in their business. If Mitesh and I want to buy the same bathing suit at, Target.com, we're going to pay the same price unless Mitesh has a coupon code that I don't know about, right? But B2B companies, though, they're complex, right? There's you've got discount tiers, you've got discount percentages, you've got volume discounts, you've got blanket orders, you've got multiple warehouse locations, you've got quotes and orders, and I've got to convert quotes to orders. So there's a lot of complexity back there. And 99% of the technologies that are out there for e-commerce are not really built to be able to handle those complexities. So at Sana, We help bring those complexities online so that your customers can buy from you, like I said, in the same way that they're used to buying from you offline. And where we really thrive and add the most amount of value to our customers is with organizations that have a degree of channel complexity and a degree of product complexity. I'm not going to go into what all of the variables are within those different complexities, but a couple of things, to keep an ear out for, aside from what I've already mentioned with quotes and quote to order conversion. If you've got configure price quote, if you have bill of materials, right? You sell a machine, it's made up of lots of different parts, right? Spare parts that you sell, aftermarket parts, and you need to be able to explode diagrams in order to help people drill down in order to easily find the product that they're looking for. If you have a lot of technical specification sheets for your products, those are just a small handful of some of the things that we're looking for where we know we're going to be able to add a lot of value. And then I think that's the last slide, if I remember correctly. Oh, the architecture. I think maybe there's a click. There we go. Yeah, so as you can see here, Sana sits on top of the ERP, right? The word connector is almost a little bit of a misnomer. It's really an installation file that gets installed directly into the ERP system, which creates that window into the ERP and the real-time connection for creating orders and retrieving pricing and stock availability. And then the solution is broken up into both a storefront, right, which is the web store or the customer portal, whichever you might want to call, and then also the Sana back office admin panel. And then on the periphery here, you can see there's quite a other things that get layered on top and around commerce, right, where you've got analytics, whether it be Google Analytics and or Sana Commerce Insights that you see here with dashboards and being able to drill down into your data. Payment landscape, right, for ACH, e-check, or maybe some customers are on terms or we offer them the ability to pay via credit card. Email marketing, CPQ for configure price quotes. So a lot of other solutions that are generally going to be on the periphery that we'll have integrations into as well. And with that, I'll go ahead and flip over to my screen in my demo environment. Mitesh, if that's okay with you.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Okay. Mitesh, you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Great. So I'm going to familiarize everybody with the different screens that I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between today during the live demo. The first one here is Outdoora. This is just my demo web store. And to familiarize you with it, up here at the top, I've got search. I've got a bunch of headers, which are going to comprise category and subcategory structure. Of course, I can log in the upper right-hand corner, and I've got my shopping cart up there. We do handle multi-currency as well as multi-language. As I scroll down a little bit, I have what we call a lookbook, where I have these hotspot icons and I can click into it and it'll pop out more information and an add to cart button for me. As I scroll down a little bit further, these flexi tiles are going to take me to some different category pages. And then we can have our USP here if we want, right? And this is all configurable, obviously, to your brand and how you want to create it. And I'll show you in a little bit how easy it is to build out content and manipulate the site. And then, of course, down here at the bottom, I've got newsletter subscription and sitemap. Now, the other screen that I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between quite a bit is my Sana admin panel. This is where all things configuration happen, right? From the CMS, the content management aspect of it, where we're going to build content. This is where we're going to configure the site to behave differently for B2B versus B2C customers, or we might even hyper personalize the site for one of our big customers and have it, look very specific to that customer. A lot of that's going to happen here, so we'll spend some time in here throughout the course of the demo. And then I do also have Business Central up and running so that you can see how Sana interacts with it throughout the course of the demo too. Now, Couple of things I want to point out here. First off, Sana is built in React. React was coined in built by Facebook. Actually, it's a single page application, and what that means is that everything preloads into it behind the scenes, so that when customers are out on the site interacting with it and clicking around, it is lightning fast, regardless of the API, the real-time API calls that we're making. And if you take a look when I click on bikes here in the header, notice my header didn't refresh, right? So only the portion of the page that needs to refresh does, which helps also with those lightning fast load speeds. Now, if I click Control-Shift-I, then you can see what it's going to look like on a mobile device. And as I change the size of my screen, you can see that it responds accordingly. So Sana is also mobile responsive and can be consumed on any device where you have an internet connection. Now, while I'm here in the bikes product list page, I want to point out that everything that you see here on this screen is being driven from D365. Okay, so I mentioned earlier when we install Sana into D365 or NAV, we update, modify, and add table structure. One of the simplest but most powerful things that we add is this little slider here within the item card that says make visible in web shop. And I can give it a date range if I want to. If it's a seasonal item and I want it to come down at the end of the year, at the end of the season, I can do that and it'll come down automatically. But the reason that this slider is so powerful, and you can either slide this at the individual item level where we are, or at the category level where I might have hundreds or thousands of products. When I slide that and turn it on, it automatically floods that item out onto the web store, and it takes all the core data with it, right? So it's going to grab the item name, it's going to grab the item number, it's going to grab variant IDs if you're using variant IDs, it's going to grab attributes, units of measure, pricing, um, and we're going to pull all of that online so that if you have 50,000 SKUs, you can get those online very quickly without having to build every product page from scratch. Now, the attributes are going to allow you to search, sort, and filter. I have the site set up to behave differently to somebody who's looking at it publicly and not logged in versus my different customers. So right now I'm not logged in, and you'll notice that it's showing euro, right? It's also, rather than US dollar, it's showing commercial list price, not discounted price. And it's also showing in stock. We're not actually showing real-time inventory levels. However, when I log in as different users, the site starts to behave a little bit differently. So now I'm going to log in as a B2B customer, Dave. When Dave logs in, you can see that it's flipped over to US dollars. Dave doesn't have any discounted pricing. However, when I log out as Dave and I log in as Frank, Frank does have customer discounts, and you can see them here, right? So now we're starting to pull in all of the pricing logic directly from the ERP system and in real time. So it doesn't matter if Dave is associated to a discount tier, if there's a discount percentage that that's in his customer card back in the ERP system, volume discounts, blanket orders, trade agreements, right? All of that's going to come from the ERP in real time. You can also see that I'm showing real-time availability now once my B2B customers log in. So again, just a setting. That's how I have it set up in my admin panel. If I click into this particular product, I've got a very robust description, right? And so if you store a description back in Business Central, we'll automatically pull it into Sana, but we give you the ability to override it. And that way you have more than 26 characters, and you can use special characters and bullet points if you need to. You'll also notice that I've got attachments here. So whether it's a user manual, a warranty document, some sort of service guide, I've got specifications. These are my attributes. Right, this product comes in different colors. These are variant IDs set up in the ERP system. I can check all locations for availability, and if there's multiple warehouse, I can see how much is in each warehouse if I want to. I can set stock alerts. So if this is out of stock and it comes back into stock later, I can do that. I can request product information from here as well. So there's a lot of information that I have here right at my fingertips in order to make a buying decision. But aside from the core data that we pull over from the ERP with that item, we also give you the ability to override some of that data and add additional web content. So if I come into my admin panel and go to my product pages, here I can override the description that's in the ERP, either in plain text or in HTML, CSS, or JavaScript if I click over to code view. I also have the ability to add as much media as I want. If there's an image in the ERP attached to the item, we pull it through also. But if you don't store them there or don't want to, or you want to store multiple images on the product page, you can add as many images here, 360-degree view, rotating images if you have them, as well as videos. So again, we grab all the core data from the ERP and then give you the ability to add in a bunch of this additional product information and content and digital assets. Now, I'm going to come back out here to the product list page. And a couple of things I want to point out first is guided selling. This is brand new. This just got launched into the product a couple of weeks ago, where you can set up guided selling. So if you have a big catalog and or a complex catalog and you want to guide your customers to the product that they're looking for, then you can prompt them with different layers of questions that will help them find what they're looking for without having to go hunting and pecking throughout the site. So the other thing that let's see here. Why don't we go ahead actually and add a couple of items into a cart while I'm here. Aside from guided selling and searching and filtering and clicking through all of the headers and the category structure, I have some other ways I can get items into a cart pretty quickly too. Once I go into the shopping cart, I have a quick product lookup window. So if I know a partial SKU or a partial description, I can key that in, find what I'm looking for, adjust my quantity and unit of measure, and add to cart. I also have Bluetooth barcode scanning capability. So if I'm sitting in a warehouse and I've got a barcode in front of me on the product, I can scan it, add it to the cart that way. You can also do bulk uploads via spreadsheet, right? Where if you've got like 100 items you want to get into a cart, you could give your customers a spreadsheet that has those 100 SKUs and they just go, tick in the quantity columns and then drag and drop it to the page via the upload my items section here. And it'll automatically build the cart out for them in real time with all their customer specific pricing. Once I've built out my cart, I can save it to a list and I can have multiple lists. So for companies that are oftentimes coming in here on a particular frequency, monthly, quarterly, and replenishing goods, right? This is going to give me a way to not have to come in and build the cart from scratch every single time. And it's going to give me a much more efficient ordering experience. So if we want to call this maybe like our monthly sauna order, I'll go ahead and create that list. I'll add those items into the cart, or into that list rather. Next time I come to the site, I go to the My List section and I can come in here and click into my monthly sauna order. And from here, I can adjust it, right? So maybe this doesn't get me to the end zone, but it gets me to the red zone, right? Where I've got most of what I need in here. I don't have to build it out from scratch. I can adjust quantities, units of measure. I could delete an item off of it if I want to, or add more items from here too, and then add it to the cart. Now that I've built out my shopping cart, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check out. Now, for those companies that have quotes or create quotes in their ERP system, or that facilitate some sort of a quote to order conversion process, we also do handle quotes in that quote to order conversion process too. But for the sake of the demo today, I'm just going to go ahead and create an order. So I'm going to proceed to checkout. Now, because of the tight ERP integration, you can also see that this order is going to cause me to go over my credit limit. Right now, I demo from this user all day long, which is why I'm so over my credit limit. But the nice thing about Sana too is that not only can we expose this to the customer, we can also create behaviors off of ERP information like this. So I'll give you an example. What do you want to have happen when your customer is over their credit limit, right? I have some customers that say, I'll take the order all day long, right? And then I'll put it on a hold and I'll call them and let them know before we fulfill it, they need to pay their invoices. I've got others that say, nope, I want to block the order online. I want to hide I want to hide price and stock information, and I don't want to allow them to order. I've got some that actually want to even slap their customer in the face with a banner when they log in and they're over their credit limit that points them to the My Account section where they can pay their invoices online. And by the way, if you wanted to do something like that, you come into the admin panel and you create a customer segment, and we'll call it, credit limit banner. And then all of these fields that we're going to use to drive the segmentation, you'll notice are either basket fields, checkout fields, but mostly customer master fields from the ERP. So I don't have to be a developer or a designer in order to build functionality like this into the site. All I need to do is find the credit limit field, give it a condition, give it a value, maybe further segment it by country code, US but not Canada, right? And then I create my segment, create my banner, tie it to the segment, and boom, every time somebody logs in that's in the US and not Canada and is over their credit limit, they get a banner that pops up, right, and points them to the My Account section, asking them to go pay their invoices. So pretty cool. And there's all sorts of segments that you can build, different shipping options, different payment options. You could have the site look completely different to your customer. In fact, if I were to log out as Frank and log in as Steven, you'll notice that I don't have access to the same catalog. My logo changes. We removed a bunch of headers. If I come back out to my main page, I don't have that gentleman that I had before with a big smile. I've got this guy on a bike for my image banner, and I don't have that lookbook. I actually have a product set carousel. So very hyper personalized to this buyer who only buys from the bikes category, and we don't necessarily want to distract him with another 10,000 SKUs across other categories of product. So back over to Frank. Let's go ahead and complete that order now. So log back in as Frank and back to that shopping cart. I'm going to go ahead and proceed to checkout. And I've got different options here from shipping address standpoint. This is pulling the addresses directly from the ERP. If there's multiple that are on file, I can search and filter for the right one. I could also hand key in a new address and decide I want to save that to the address book for future use. Or maybe I don't want to ship it. I want to actually pick it up from a warehouse or from a store. Shipping, if you ask 100 customers how they ship, you get 88 different answers, or companies rather, you get 88 different answers. So I don't want to go deep into shipping, but we have the ability to facilitate small parcel, LTL, freight, right? There's that gets pretty complex. So I'm not going to dive too deep into that here. I'm just going to select a shipping option. One thing that I think is important for everybody to know, though, when I'm on this page, we've actually already created a temporary sales order in the ERP system. The reason that we do that is to trigger the order lines just as if it were being hand keyed in the ERP. So tax data, tax tables, right? Shipping tables, if you've got weights and dimensions and that's how you're calculating shipping, when you go hand key that into the ERP, that automatically gets added as shipping order lines. It's going to get added as an order line here in the ERP. This is, or on the web. This is just like it's getting hand keyed into the ERP system. And that's the power of the ERP integration there. Payment options, we can give lots of different options. Again, we can also segment it. Some customers may be on account only, some get credit card as an option. Maybe some don't get on account, they only get credit card as an option. So I'm going to go ahead and use on account, but we could certainly do credit card, ACH, check, over 250 different payment methods. And maybe I leave a PO number, comments, requested delivery date, or drag and drop a PO here or some sort of attachment. Go ahead and click submit order. Now that order has been created in the ERP in real time. So order number 1410, I'm going to come over here to Business Central. Let me just refresh my login. and we'll search for that order number. Try that again. There it is, 1410, Frank. It's a bi-directional integration. So any changes that get made to the order back office are going to reflect out on the web store in real time as well. If this came in as a quote and you convert it to an order back office, it's going to show up as an order online. If you were to come in here and change this quantity from 1 to 100 and save and close out, now the customer comes back out to the site, goes to the order page, guess what? It's already at 100, right? That's how real time this is. From here, I can download the order, I can edit it, although we turn that button off once it's posted, invoiced, picked, packed, and shipped, right? So we only leave that edit button on while it's in an open status in the ERP. I can also come in here and reorder, which is effectively going to just dump the items back into my cart and recalculate the basket, because what if price changed and what if availability has changed, right? So I have to go through the checkout process again, but you saw how quickly we were able to do that. That allows me to come in and quickly reorder. If I go back to the My Account section, I also have a 360-degree view of my entire transaction history. Okay, it doesn't matter if this order came in via EDI, if it was hand keyed into the ERP 2 years ago, or if it was a web order via Asana Web Store tomorrow. We're a window into the ERP system, and we are exposing the entire customer's transaction history. So they can come in here, they can look up orders based on order number, shipping status, reference number, date ranges. They can do the same thing across quotes, invoices, return orders, etc. Invoices, if I come in here and I, let's just clear out my date range. So I've got some invoices in here. From here, I can see what's been paid and what hasn't been paid, and I can make a payment if this is connected to a payment service provider. And we've got about 35 different PSPs that we integrate into out of the box. So I could select multiple invoices if I want to and go ahead and click pay. I also can view the details of the invoice. I can download a copy of the posted invoice detail. That's essentially the invoice itself. It's not a Asana generated copy, right? This is as if it were coming, it's literally right out of the ERP system. So if you embellish your invoices with your customer's logo, right, that's what they're going to see here, just as if it were being sent to them after pulling it from the ERP. I also have the ability to create an RMA request from here if I want to. So if I click return order, here I can select which lines, the quantity of that line. I can select a reason code, comments. If something showed up broken or dead on arrival, I could snap a picture, drag and drop it to here and complete return request, and that's going to drop it off in the ERP for you to be able to review and either accept or reject after you've done your due diligence. If you accept the return, then it will show up in the return receipts, right? There'll be a receipt for it, and the customer will be able to see those. They can also see the status of their return requests from here. If you apply a credit memo to the account, the customer can even get to their credit memos, and all of their shipments are going to be here as well. So if I get rid of that date selection again and search, here I can see shipment and I can see shipment status. And because this is a fake shipment, we don't actually have a tracking URL, but normally there would also be a hyperlink there, right, for shipment tracking. For those organizations that use blanket agreements or sales agreements, where you have a contract with a customer and that customer has agreed to buy X amount of particular products, right, at X price, and maybe that contract also states that that price changes as you hit thresholds throughout the blanket. We also support blanket orders, where essentially you can come in here and you can view the details of the blanket order, and you can even drill down and really get into the details. But you can also apply that sales agreement and essentially release items off of that blanket order. So that functionality is there too. And then if you want to set up subscriptions for your customers, you can also have them set up subscriptions. So that's a newer feature that went into the product also, that Used to be historically more of a B2C feature, but we're starting to see a lot more B2B companies leveraging that subscription functionality as well. If I log out as Frank, I'm now going to log in as a salesperson, and a salesperson has quite some functionality that they can do in here. First off, somebody internal to your company can come in and they can see this account dashboard here. This dashboard is going to show them all of the customers that they're associated to in the ERP system. It's going to show them all of their transactional history. So they can come in here and maybe they're at a trade show or they're on site with a customer, or a customer's calling them, right? And the customer doesn't have an internet connection or whatever the reason may be, and they can come in here without necessarily going into Business Central, and they're still going to have all that BC data. So they can come in, they can help find the order that the customer was looking for. They could, somebody's turned off my reorder button, but essentially they could reorder for the customer on behalf of them. So they have access to all of that account details and transactional history across all of their customers. They also have the ability to create a prospect order. If they're meeting with a prospect that's not a customer yet, they can go ahead and create a prospect order, which will also create and start the process for a new account creation in the ERP. Also, they have the ability to represent an account. So they can filter based on customer number, name, or address and find the customer that they want to represent. And when they do that, notice they're looking at the portal through the customer's eyes, right? When we were looking at Steven earlier, right? He only had access to bikes. That's all that we have access to here. But hypothetically, I could come in here on behalf of Steven, add items to a cart, and create an order or create a quote on behalf of that customer, and or facilitate a quote to order process. So a lot of functionality that salespeople will have that they can use when they log in order to look at the catalog and see customer specific pricing and be able to represent that customer and see that portal through that customer's eyes. Now, let's go spend a little bit of time in the admin panel here, because there's a couple of things that I want to get through that I think are important to show. The first is ease of use from an administration standpoint and building out the site. So I mentioned earlier, there's really not anything in Sana that where you need to be a developer or a web designer. We've made it very WYSIWYG, right? What you see is what you get, very drag and drop, very easy to use. If you do have developers and designers, they can get more aggressive and they can build things from scratch with code, but we're not going to require it. So if I wanted to build out a content page as an example, because a lot of our customers will not just have catalog, they'll have an About Us section or a customer feedback section, right? Or you'll notice here in my demo environment, I've got 95 different content pages that are not related to catalog. Customer service page. If I wanted to build something like that, then I come in here and I'm going to grab a YouTube video from one of my customers, actually. This is a customer called AOSS Medical Supply. And I'm going to start with a 1-column grid up here at the top. This 12-column grid structure gives me a lot of flexibility as to how I can lay out my pages. But up here with my 1-column, I'm going to go ahead and cut and paste that YouTube video URL. I'm going to give it a particular height, and I want it to look a little bit more modern, so I'm going to round the top left and the bottom right-hand corner, and I'm going to save my changes. And now I've got AOSS's YouTube video. Now, down here below, I'm just going to grab an image. These are all content elements that we've created so that you don't have to go building them from scratch. So here I'm going to grab this image and we're going to pull in this banner. That's going to go below the YouTube video. Down here below, maybe we want to highlight our executive leadership team. We've got a team member content element. Everything I'm showing you, by the way, you're able to do on product pages also, right? So you can manipulate product pages and pull in all these different types of content elements. I'm going to go ahead and add a team member to the page. So we're going to grab Linda, the president of AOSS. Over here, we're going to grab another team member. Of course, I would change the name and put in maybe like their LinkedIn URL and a description of them. I'm not going to do that, just to blow through the solution overview a little bit quicker. We're going to grab Trey, put him in here. If these two start fighting about who looks better on the left versus the right, I can bump her over into the middle. So it's all drag and drop. If I want to move this above and in between the YouTube video and the image banner, I can do that. Very, very simple to build out content. One thing that we've seen a lot of customers do that are in spare parts, where they've got a bill of materials, maybe an engine or a machine that's made up of 100 different parts. Sometimes it's not, we don't know the SKU number, right, of that little part that we can't get to very easily. And with B2B commerce, it's all about making it easy and facilitating a quick buying process. So one thing that we've seen a lot of customers do where they've got complex BOMs is use an exploder diagram, where we've created what we call a lookbook, as I showed you earlier, where that item popped out more information in the add to cart. But the lookbook can be used for a couple of different things. So if I were to come in here, and I'm going to swap out this image with an exploder diagram. And here, I'm going to now create hotspots, right? So there's a hotspot, an icon, and I'm now going to select the product that matches that part from my catalog. And so I could go in here, grab that part, then I come over here, create another hotspot, right? Go search for that product, put it here. And then I go ahead and I save changes. And now I've got this exploder diagram on my site, right? Under a machine page where I've got a list of all of the different products that make up that bill of materials. But I don't need to pull out a magnifying glass. I look for the SKU number, know the SKU number off the top of my head. I know it's this part that I want. All I have to do is click on the hotspot icon once that page is live, and it takes me right to that part, and I can add it into my cart. So I thought that was something valuable to show for any companies that have complex bill of materials and maybe have exploder diagrams of their product. You can use those here. Another thing that becomes quite important is analytics. So a lot of you out there on the call probably are using Google Analytics on your website or on your current web store today. With Sana, you have the ability to use Google Analytics. You come in here into the marketing section, and then you can add your Google Tag Manager container ID. There's a newer version of Google Analytics, so you got to select which version that you're on, and then you're off to the races, right? And you've got what they call clickstream data. And clickstream data is useful. What is clickstream data? It's data that tells us what people are doing on the site, right? Are they hitting this page? Are they adding that item into a cart? But what Google Analytics leaves us needing is the who. That's where the rubber meets the road. When you can see who left an item in a basket, who looked at that product page for 45 minutes. So what we've done, aside from leveraging Google Analytics, is we've created what we call Sana Commerce Insights. Sana Commerce Insights takes all of the clickstream data that you would get from a Google Analytics. It takes all the web store data and it melds it with all the ERP data, customers, transactional history. When you can pull all three of those together, you can get some fascinating, actionable insights. I'll give you an example, Ropo. Researched online, purchased offline. That's pretty interesting, right? If we spend all this money investing in a web store and try to bring our business online, we want our customers to use it. The cost of an online sale is cheaper than an offline sale. right? It doesn't take a salesperson the time to go back and forth with the customer and key in the order. So if somebody goes out to the site, looks at a product page for 45 minutes and then calls a salesperson who then hand keys it into the ERP, I want to know. They've researched it online, but they purchased it offline. And more importantly, I want to know why they didn't convert online, right? And so it's the ability to see that offline versus online data that gives us those really, really interesting actionable insights. So I'll give you another example. Like from here on my executive overview dashboard, I can see all of revenue, but I can also drill into it and I can see revenue at the customer level in the product table, and I can compare online versus offline. So now I can see which customers are performing better online versus offline, which products are selling better online versus offline, right? I can drill into other dashboards where here's the customer table. So I can see, I can start getting a little bit more granular into this at the customer level and start really digging into this data. I also have the ability to see abandoned basket information. So if somebody's leaving items in a cart, we can hook that up to like a MailChimp or a .digital or a HubSpot, right? And be able to drip campaign out to them to try to get them to come back to the basket and convert. I can see which customers are adopting the site, which ones aren't, which ones have we upsold and cross-sold. I can see which salespeople's customers are getting better adoption. That's pretty interesting too, right? If Susie's customers are adopting it really well and Johnny's aren't, I want to know what Susie's doing and spread those best practices out to the rest of the team. So I can get really deep into all this data here. We've got all these different dashboards. And then if I don't see something that I'm looking for, I also have the ability to ask questions in my native tongue. So, and there's AI built into this. You can see these tiles. These will start popping up as suggestions. When you start asking questions of your data, it'll show you some other things that you might want to take a look at too. But if I wanted to see something like year over year revenue, actually, no, let's do this. Revenue by product group, right? It builds it for me right there on the fly. But I don't want to see it in that type of a chart. I want to see it in a pie chart. It builds it for me. Pretty cool. Really powerful stuff right there. When you can pull in all of that transactional data with the web store data, you can get some really interesting actionable insights. And our customer success team works with our customers within Sana Commerce Insights. We put them through this customer success, what we call Sana Success Track. And we essentially identify what their top objectives are. We help them understand which KPIs they need to measure, set the KPIs up and the goals that they want to achieve within Sana Commerce Insights, and then we meet with them monthly, quarterly, whatever the customer thinks is the right cadence in order to spread best practices across those objectives in order to help our customers hit them. And when they hit two objectives, then move on to another two. So this is really a partnership, right, between us, Navisiontech, and our customers, where we really, are becoming trusted advisors, and this is, all included when you buy Sana. This partnership with a customer success manager that helps you try to get the most out of your investment. Couple last things that I'll mention here real quick is that for companies that are larger or are multi-brand, multi-region, maybe they've got many entities in their ERP system, you can have multiple web stores that are tied to those different entities as well. So you can see here within my admin panel, I'm actually powering 4 different web stores, all from the same admin panel, all tied into 4 different companies back in Business Central. So definitely scalable. We've got some customers that have over 1 million SKUs. We've got customers that are placing, 250 line item orders, and we've got ways to tweak and monitor and measure, performance and in order to, make sure that we've got the right amount of throughput for a really, good performing site, regardless of how complex and scalable your company is. So here you can see, as I click around, it's showing me the amount of milliseconds that these real-time API calls are taking, and they're quite quick. I could sit here and demo for a couple more hours, but I know we don't all have that much time, and I wanted to really, just try to touch on as much as I could across the breadth of the solution. So I'll go ahead and take a breath of air, and Mitesh, I'll turn it back over to you. I don't know if there's anybody in the audience that has chatted or put any questions in or raised their hand, but maybe if there's Q&A, maybe that's a good next step too.
Perfect. Yeah. And thank you for the wonderful demonstration, Mike. And I'm going to go back and share my screen, and I will go back to the question and Q&A session if we have any questions. Let me go back. Okay, so I have like a four questions. So the question number one is this e-commerce platform integrated with Dynamics Navision and Business Central on-prem version?
Great question. It is. So we have customers. Gosh, we have some customers that are still back on even probably like NAV 2009 R2 or maybe even prior to that. So we do integrate with just about every version of NAV that's still in use today, and we work both with BC Cloud and BC On-Prem.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think that's answered the questions. And another question we have, can we connect this solution with social media platform such as Facebook and TikToks?
Yeah, great question. You certainly can. You can connect it with that. There's actually some content elements within that visual designer where you can bring in like Instagram feed and different things like that, or you can share out products, to Facebook or Instagram. The other thing that we also have too is we've got some marketplace integrations and a product feed export. So if companies are wanting to sell on, Amazon or even Facebook or Facebook Marketplace or eBay, there's also a way for us to easily help them export product information and feed out to those channels too.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And we have another question. Can we send a promotion and discount offer to our customers from this e-commerce solution?
You can. In fact, I'm just going to take back over the screen really quick here. And so from within my admin panel, I also have the ability to create discount codes. And you can create as many as you want. But if I were to come in here and add a new discount, you can select whether it's an order discount or free shipping discount. Once I select that, I give it a code number, title, a campaign. I can decide whether it's fixed amount or a percentage. I can give it active dates. I can also give it a maximum redemptions behavior. Can it be used once or a million times or anywhere in between during those active dates? I can even segment it. And then I can also decide whether it's going to be allowed, if guest checkout is turned on and somebody's trying to check out as a guest, and I can set up minimum purchase requirements. So there is some functionality there for that. The other thing that I'll mention really briefly too is that we add some functionality into Business Central that's not there when we do our installation around mix and match logic. So buy one, get one, buy one of these, get 10% off of that, buy X plus Y, get Z, right? That's not functionality that's native to Business Central, but we add it in there for the purposes of powering the web store. But because it's also in the ERP, when we add it there, it can be used omnichannel for any order, regardless of whether it's online or offline. So good question.
Perfect. And the last question we have, what is the license pricing of Sana Commerce?
That's a hard one to answer without a little bit more discovery and understanding a little bit more about the customer. But what I'll say is that we've designed our pricing and packaging model to be able to meet every customer where they are from an e-commerce maturity and a business complexity standpoint. So we've got three different packages of Sana. We have an essential, a pro, and an advanced version. The different versions have, as you can imagine, more features, right, as you go from essential to pro to advanced. And to give you an idea, the entry point for a customer is going to be probably around $1,200 a month for the subscription. That includes hosting, unlimited number of users. It includes the SLA. It includes support, maintenance, and this is a SaaS product, right? So there's going to be free quarterly updates that are going to get rolled out to our customers um, out of the, seamlessly behind the scenes. But the price really can vary. 1,200 a month is about the entry point. Um, there's also a fixed implementation cost that differs depending on the package. But I have some customers, that are $1 billion plus customers that are, spending a very much higher number than the $1,200 a month, and we've got everyone in between. I need to know a little bit more detail. And if anybody really is interested in learning more about pricing, please reach out to Mitesh at the end of the webinar, and he can work on setting up a discovery call for about half
Yeah,
an hour so I can learn your business a little better.
yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask them like to have a discovery call with them, and we can learn more about their business process, and we can learn more about that requirement. What do they exactly looking for, so we can give them a better pricing. So
Exactly.
that's yeah. So that's all I have, and let me see if there is anything else we left off. So I would say thank you for joining us, and if you have any further questions or would like to discuss your specific requirement in more detail, please do not hesitate to call us, or you can reach out to us, the number which you can see on the slide, or you can send us an email. And you can also follow us on social media, to Navision Tech and Sana Commerce, where we have tons of educational materials available. And with that being said, have a great day, and we will see you in the next webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitesh. Thanks, everybody.